Hello and welcome to the podcast in which we are going to be doing an actual play of, well, you've already read it in the title. So, who are we? My name is Samuel James, and today I am joined by
Kyle Berger.
Kyle. Welcome once again. Thank you for hosting with me. Today we are going to be doing Mad Max. That is set within the universe of a post-apocalyptic Australia that is fueled by dirt and metal and a lot of gasoline.
And will.
And the will to survive. Also, I think Tina Turner songs, too. And Mel Gibson and Tom Hardy. A lot of that kind of stuff. So, you and I met through in college, and one of the things that we worked on together was our buddy Jed Zabel, for his senior thesis, did a post-apocalyptic film called Warpath's End, which was kind of an homage to a lot of post-apocalyptic movies, including Mad Max, Fury Road, all that kind of stuff. What were your memories of working on this film?
Oh my gosh. It was rough, but I remember the costuming was pretty good. The weather was horrible. The lighting was horrible. It was like one of those weird faux springs where like it would get warm.
Yep.
And you'd like plan a bunch of shooting and then it would immediately snow again and be super overcast. And like it's one of those ones where it's like the natural scrim of it being like really cloudy was very good. So you'd start a shoot and then the sun would just randomly pop out. And it just wrecked the white balancing of like every sequence.
Yeah.
And then it like
there
get
were
dark way too fast.
Right. Well, you were doing action scenes outside, right? There was like a kind of a coliseum with like all of these sports what are the sport benches things called? Oh my gosh.
Bleachers?
Bleachers.
Oh my God.
They're like a coliseum made of bleachers and people dressed up in essentially hobo gear, right? And doing these like big fights. Yeah, I remember I was put as a character who we nicknamed Zesty Vesty. Because that was like my defining trait was wearing a vest and holding an assault rifle. And I think I got captured at one point and like gunned to my head. So I didn't have to do very much acting, but it was definitely on set. And there was created a ramshack shanty town out in like rural Wisconsin. And so there were a bunch of concrete pads out there from some building, years and years and years ago. And we set up a hobo camp with like tents, and I remember there was a barrel of like crap that was just lit on fire. And a lot of those similar moments of like shooting outside, and the sun would then come out, and then all sorts of shooting problems.
It was it was exciting though. It was, I don't know, there was so much propage, a lot of non-safe stunt work.
I remember two bits I remember in particular on working on this film one was a motorcycle helmet that had a series of like 9-inch screws coming out of it. Not 9-inch nails, 9-inch screws that were in the shape of a mohawk. And I remember this because Jed put it in our apartment and it was just there like on the table, just waiting for somebody to put this silly thing on and try and like, I don't know, headbutt a wall or something.
Oh no, I think my character actually wore that.
Did you really?
It was worn by a different character because my character died in like the opening, and then it was then worn by a relative of my character who was trying to avenge me or something.
Wait, so you had a whole backstory as a background character?
No, I wasn't a background character. I was the best friend of the main character who dies in the opening.
It's been a while since I've seen this film.
Yeah, but in any case, I know exactly the helmet you're talking about because I wore it and then I killed a person with it. I stabbed it into his heart.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, and then the other piece I remember for like costuming, besides my amazing black vest, was a baseball bat. A baseball bat with perpendicular saw blades, like pressed into the top of it. So it was like this was, you know what? Now I'm doing my timeline. This may have been right around the Stranger Things time where they were putting nails into baseball bats, but we had two saw blades.
I think Walking Dead is might
Walking
be what
Dead.
you're thinking
Okay.
of.
Yeah. So, yeah, all sorts of fun stuff. But there's something to the post-apocalyptic that's very grungy, DIY. Everyone's a tinkerer and a scrapper and all that kind of stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's all in the same kind of vein. So we're going to be playing Mad Max, in which we're going to be doing some similar things regarding ridiculous stunts and explosions and weapons, of course. And I do have some resources that I've put together. I'm going to reference some RPG things that I've assembled in the background that we have on our sheets. One is from a resource called Blood and Chrome, which is a hack of lasers and feelings, done in kind of the Mad Max style. And then the other is a game from John Harper, whom listeners might know from Blades in the Dark. There's an early game that he did that was cyberpunky called Ghost Echo. And so we just have some like names and proper nouns from these things that there's resources that we have at our disposal, but otherwise, the only other thing that we have is the scenario, which I'm going to read now. A cult of scavengers begins harvesting living people for the rare metal in their implants. A lone mechanic with a titanium skeleton races to escape them. And that is it. That is all we are given. And we have like some names and some fun places to go, but I think Burger, that's where we begin. Where should we start with our character? I do have a name written down for them, but if
Mhm.
you have somewhere else a different direction you'd like to go and we can head that way.
Well, I feel like, for this sort of scenario, you gotta start with not the main character, but our freakish, antagonists. Um, so maybe we have, so we gotta show what they're all about, what they're doing, the stakes, and so I feel like you gotta start with, like, maybe a small caravan of people walking through the desert, as you're prone to do, trying to make their way to the safety of some civilizational hub or the other. But they've basically been caught out, and within this group of people is probably several elderly people with prosthetic legs. Yeah, prosthetic legs, crutches, stuff like that. Maybe someone with bit of chatter amongst this group about like, oh, my joints are aching. My joints are aching. We've been walking for days. And then, like, someone makes an offhand comment about their like synthetic spine. So they don't feel anything and they could walk for another 1,000 miles if need be.
I like that because then there's kind of this hubris element of like, look at how great my skeleton is, right? Or how great these implants are.
Mhm.
And then you said they're caught out. So are we gonna show our cult of scavengers?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the cult of scavengers, they they get jumped. The cult of scavengers basically, they jump over a dune on a dirt bike and a
Yes.
dune buggy even. Uh,
Yes.
um, they do the classic. They jump over the dune. It's really epic and cool, and then they do circles around this group of basically refugees, I guess. And maybe the refugees are armed themselves and they put up a token resistance, but they soon get gunned down until basically you are left with just the people who are sort of just standing there in a shocked silence, getting circled by these motorcycles, and then maybe the motorcycles stop. A tall figure in a helmet steps out of the dune buggy, and someone from the refugee column approaches them, and it's like, "Hey, listen, um, we don't want any trouble. We're happy to offer you what we can, and we'll just keep heading on our way. We'd love to, negotiate safe passage if these are your wonderful sand dunes." Um, and with that, the tall, enigmatic figure just sort of like stares at them, not saying a word, and instead just sort of grabs the person by the chin and like tilts their head and looks at a synthetic ear that they have on the side of their face.
No.
And then under the helmet, you see a wicked yellow grin as his snarly teeth just show, and he gives a big smile, still saying nothing, and then basically just a hard cut after that.
Yeah, I like that. We get the hard cut, and I would like to be back at the base of this cult of scavengers. I have written down Bone Smelters as the group name. Are we cool with that?
Oh yeah, no, I like that.
All right,
Um,
Bone Smelters. Go ahead.
I feel like jumping straight back to the base. I'd say if we are gonna jump straight back to the base and show them smelting bones, I feel like then there's nothing wrong with, just having them take the stuff. What I was angling more towards was it's gonna be a hard cut. We don't actually see what they do, but then we were gonna
Ah.
have our main character, um, or Max. And obviously Max can or cannot be the main character. But in any case, we're angling towards a character, but we basically have someone who's gonna come across the remains of
Ooh,
this
I like
caravan
that.
later.
I
And
like
then
it. I like it too because then it puts them in parallel, right? So
mhm,
these are characters. We have our protagonist character, and then the bone smelters who will become in opposition somehow. But for right now, it's just investigating. Like, hey, what happened here?
yeah. So maybe we jump to the cosmopolitan area, or not cosmopolitan, but the civilizational hub or what's left of civilization that these refugees were heading towards,
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna
maybe
put a name to that. I'm gonna
yeah,
call it the Watchtower,
okay.
as like a spot that some people are gathered to pool their resources and try and survive.
Yeah. And maybe we introduce with like a quartermaster like character who's like been organizing all these supplies and resources and people and trying to get people into residential housing and trying to get everyone more organized. And he basically looks at his clipboard and he says there was supposed to be a group from such and such place that was supposed to arrive today and there's no sign of them all morning.
I
And he
like
get
that.
and then maybe um we get our character, as stated previously, who has almost an entirely synthetic skeleton. Um, or yeah, I'm not sure what sort of implants we want him to have. Do we want him to have any external implants?
I think it'd be fun. You give him kind of like an exosuit kind of deal.
Hmm.
But then it also clearly is part of him. Like you can't just take the exoskeleton and like, oh, he's fine. He's just like missing an arm or a leg. Like, no, no, no. This is part of his body.
Like straight up, he doesn't have skin.
Yeah,
He's
oh,
like a
pretty
beetle.
close to it. We want him to be like somewhat human and
Yeah,
like you can relate to this guy. He's not like full Terminator or full like Ultron, but
yeah,
he definitely he is more machine than man. We'll put it that way. But he's still got a heart.
yeah. So he's like yeah, he wears normal human clothes over the top of this exoskeleton,
Yeah.
but it's very very clear he's more machine than man.
So I'm gonna gear towards or like angle towards the name Hollow Jack. What do you think?
I like that. I like
All right.
that.
And then what's his role at the Watchtower? Is he one who is going to go investigate the happenings of why this caravan of refugees has gone missing, or is he more of a I don't know, is he a self-interested figure who may just decide to go scavenge for them?
I'm thinking I'm thinking he's gonna be a community man, only because I feel like Max is gonna be the lone dog. If and when they meet, um, Max is gonna be the more like, a loner, and this guy is gonna be more of a community man, and I'm picturing sort of a sheriff. Not really a sheriff
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
sheriff,
yeah,
but like,
sure.
head of security for this watchtower area.
Cool. No, no, I like that. So in which case, I'm gonna slightly alter our scenario then, because it says lone mechanic. I think it'd
Mm,
be fun too if like you're saying, like community man, we have him lead like a small squad that
yeah.
are gonna go out and investigate this happening.
Mhm.
I like it. He of course needs a vehicle. So I guess your person with the clipboard like looks over, or I mean, clipboard isn't super post-apocalyptic, but we'll go with it. Looks over at Hollow Jack, who's like working on some sort of machine, and he has his Hollow Men, who are all like working on some sort of craft.
Mhm.
All right, tell me if this is stupid. It's totally fine if it is. What if you had like a steam train with huge wheels?
Like a so it's a monster truck essentially.
Yes, it's a steam train from, like, the Wild West plus huge monster wheels. I don't know how that actually look. We need to conscript some art to do this.
No, I like it. I like it. It's just a monster truck with a train chassis, and then the back wheels are bigger than the front wheels.
Yes, but I do want this thing to have, like, a super like, you can tell this thing coming from a mile away because it has this, like, huge chimney stack, right? And it's just, like, blowing smog, as it goes through the area.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know. It's in some ways it's a beacon, but it's also going to attract a lot of trouble for HollowJack.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Maybe because, like, maybe this is him and his hollow men, his, like, posse of dudes. Um, and, like, they aren't really a police force of any sort of kind. They're more of a war band themselves, but they're, like, a
Yes.
good one.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do they guys also then have so do we just, group them together by saying all the Hollow Men have some sort of implant? Or is it Hollow Jack is the only one, so we have, like, a divide between, the leader and the rest of the group?
I'd say we need a couple of them with them so that we can have some fodder. Uh,
Okay.
just so obviously they're gonna go investigate a scene which you've already set up in that case, but I feel like also the train being a huge, obnoxious black cloud is perfect because maybe in this area, um, the Hollow Men are sort of the top dogs, and they like their train because it shows people that they're coming, and that people usually quake in fear of such the black smog cloud.
Yeah, yeah. It's a belligerent show, right? So, like, yeah, some people quake at it, and the other people, like, the refugees, should they be out there,
Mhm.
would like instantly flock to that because they're like, oh, the Hollow Men, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
cool. Okay, can we have a lieutenant then in this group that bears rare metal implants? Because that way we can have then, like, it's him and then maybe 4 other crew members,
mhm.
and they could be just regular human, like, natural grown humans. And then we have our, Hollow Jack, who is, of course, just completely decked out
Yeah,
in implants, and then one other guy.
I'd say sure, like, the lieutenant has, like, a full metal lower jaw, a full metal mandible, so he's just got
Ah,
his top teeth are normal human teeth, and his bottom teeth are metal.
I like it. Yeah, that's really good. We need a name for our guy here. Do you wanna take a look, take a gander at the list of names?
Y no, I hate names. I think
Okay.
you should name Slackjaw.
Slackjaw's perfect. See, that's a name.
I hate names.
It's great. It's good. I think it works out. Do we need okay, I suppose we're an action movie, so let's keep moving. We don't
Mhm.
need to establish any sort of relationship really between them. They're just guys who are looking to let's go kick some butt.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they're deputized. One's, sort of the leader of this group that is running security, and then, it's just sort of respect base. It's a the mana boond must go forth.
Yeah, let's go get him. I like it. So, okay, from the watchtower, we then have Hollow Jack and his Hollow Men aboard their train train monster truck. This is fantastic. This is exactly what we're looking for. All right, so they get out there, and I'm assuming now it's like maybe dark at this time.
Yeah, yeah, it's getting dark, and I would say they find the site of what is now very clearly a massacre.
Yeah, right. There's abandoned resources, abandoned like clothing material. It's like clearly people have been snatched here, and they can look and they can see all of the trails where they were doing doing donuts around the
Mhm.
refugee group. Yeah, is there any what kind of giveaway would there be that there were bone smelters, or do they know nothing about this group that is as
Um,
pounced?
this, well, I feel like first we want to show some bodies already, like, taken. Do we wanna see there's, like, dead people.
Yeah, yeah, yep,
Um,
yep.
so, like, we see our guy who earlier was bragging about his synthetic spine, and we just see a corpse with its spine just totally ripped out.
Yeah, yep.
Um,
It's a grisly scene for sure.
yeah, and yeah, just some just blood everywhere, just footprints running it off in every direction, and I feel like this is where I feel like the bone smelters are not locals. They have just recently moved into this
I
area.
like yes, yes. I,
Um,
I think that's good.
and they're being hunted by a person who now finds themselves at this same massacre site. Um, I feel like this is where we can introduce Mr. Mad Max himself.
Ooh, so
Um,
he was a refugee amongst this group.
no, no, I'm saying he drove up same as our guys, but he got there first. And now there's a
Ah.
bit of tension because Mr. Mad Max is from the same area that our bone smelters are from, and he's actually on the hunt for their leader. There's like a massive price on his head in some other civilizational hub, and Mad Max is looking to collect on that. And so he is looking for this leader. And but there's a problem because he is now here investigating, same as our friends. But our friends are, a bit precocious themselves. They're kind of the top dogs in this area, top of the food chain. And they, don't know who Mad Max is. They see his car, they see him hunched over a body without a spine. Um, and they think to themselves, "Hey, this guy probably did it." And so there's a bit of tension as basically Mad Max is trying to warn them off. He's like telling them, "Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet." They're still in the area.
Ooh, yeah,
Um,
and then, of course, I think this is, of course, rub Mad Max, we'll just call him Max, the wrong
yeah,
way
yeah.
because this huge smokestack is now just, like, pumping out black smoke right in the very center of where they are, and so
Mhm.
now he's like, "Not only are these guys coming in, they're being loud, and they're gonna give away this position." So I think he is kind of done with these guys even before
Yeah.
meeting them.
Oh yeah, they're like, especially since like I said, they are sort of the top predator in this area, and they're trying to like flex their own muscles, and like he's warning them about these people, and they're just sort of first off, they're just sort of generally belligerent towards him because they don't know him and they think maybe he did something initially, and then he like tries to tell them off, and then maybe that's when we get, a bit of chuckling. Hollow Jack is sort of obviously Hollow Jack isn't as belligerent as his men, but he's also like the kind of leader who who's proud of his men's sort of haughty attitude, and he gives a couple chuckles himself. And then maybe literally his lieutenant, Mr. Slackjaw, is there like, "Do you even know who we is? We the Hollow Men. We the top dogs in this area. I'd like to see these bone smelters even try anything." And that's when we get like a harpoon coming straight through the back of his head, straight out the front, as now the Hollow Men and Max have found themselves in another ambush by these same basically troop of motorcycles. Um, Except this time we do not see the dune buggy and the enigmatic leader. But it's basically the Hollow Men. Or sorry, not the Hollow Men, the Bone Smelters again. Yeah, these Hollow Men guys have like basically rolled up, drawn all the attention back to exactly this point, and now they are trapped in the same scenario essentially that the caravan was trapped in.
This is
But
good. Wait, hold on,
unlike the
hold on, hold on. I
yeah.
wanna I wanna set up a little bit of the placement here because we
Mhm.
had we had Slackjaw and the Hollow Men who are still on this train, I think. They're, like, calling out from the train, to Max, right? And so they're on there. I think Hollow Jack is, like, he's on the front of this thing, right?
Mhm.
He's maybe not the driver. Max has his car nearby, which is just this, like, beat up, sedan slapped on with extra, like, thick wheels. And then yeah, he's hunched over the body without any spine. I think I would like to. Hollow Jack seems to me because he got like the I don't know. His name to me says Halloween and Jack o' Lantern and Jack Skellington, so I think he's a very
Yeah.
tall person.
Mhm.
I also like that he more or less is on stilts, and so he can pull himself up to his full height as kind of like an intimidation tactic, and also to like cover ground. So
Yeah.
I think if there's a fight, I think Jack's going to be one to get there quickly and to get in close with some of these guys.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I feel like that's perfect too because we already set up that the leader of the, bone smelters is also very tall.
Oh yes,
Um,
yeah, I like that head to head.
but in any case, um, this battle is gonna take place, and what I'm angling towards is that they're gonna lose this battle, and we're basically gonna lose the Hollow Men.
Yes.
We're gonna lose the train, and basically only Max and Hollow Jack are gonna get out of here.
Yep.
But I think the bigger question for that logistically is, do we want it to be um, where the Hollow Men retain the field and beat back the Bone Smelters, and it's just Max and Jack who are the survivors? Or do we want like a total rout where the Hollow Men get totally crushed, the train blows up, and
Mm.
then Max and Jack have to basically flee in Max's car?
So the part of me that doesn't wanna kill my darlings says the first option, because then we can keep this wonderful train, and I like the name Hollow Men is really cool to me,
Mhm.
so we can still keep that, but the other part of me says, "Kill your darlings."
Yeah.
Smash this group to pieces and give Hollow Jack that, that vengeful look that we're always gunning for. So,
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm down to have it just a dice roll, otherwise, if you want a specific angle, we can go for that.
No, I'm comfortable going with the second one,
Okay,
because
let's
then
do it.
it's more scary, I suppose, that
Okay,
they
but
actually got beaten.
I would like this then.
Yeah.
There's at least some way the train could come back. I don't know
Oh,
how,
for
I don't
sure.
know when, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a huge vehicle,
Oh,
um,
true, 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 true. Okay,
and
so
and
they
if you really like, it can explode, but, like, the smokestack explodes, so the whole front is blown up, but, it's still there.
we could put it back together someday. Okay, great.
Uh
Then I'm all for it. Yeah, then this is just a total bloodbath. And
And this is
then
where we obviously, they have to make their getaway, and this is where, like, obviously, I was saying that Max was hunting the guy, and he knows a lot more about this group than the Hollow Men do, but at this point, they would need to escape and, like, together as this new, team, then Max can sort of give him the deets about what's actually going on here.
this good, this good. Okay, I'm gonna make one adjustment to the attack because I like Slackjaw going down because
Mhm.
I think there's gonna be something fun with that. I would like it so that he's on his last legs, like or it's not last legs. Wow. He is very incapacitated. So maybe not through the
Yep.
head, but like
Yep.
through the chest somewhere. Where you're just like, whoa, this guy is. There's very little chance that this guy's gonna make it. So I think
Mm.
Hollow Jack is going to call out and like grab Slackjaw, rip him from this like ballista bolt that essentially went through him,
Yeah.
and is going to I think try and make the escape then, right? Um, we have the train that's gonna like do this attempt to turn around, and the Hollow Men like firing away using whatever weapons they have to attack the bone smelters.
Yeah, basically, as sort of, like, they're doing circles with their motorcycles again. For Custard's last stand, they're just surrounded on all sides.
Yes, yes. And I think, yeah, it makes sense because the train's probably a very big vehicle, and these
Mhm.
ones are like very small, agile. They're going through and like jumping over the train all at the same time while still doing the attack. So I think one
Yeah.
by one, our hollow men start to go down. Um, Max, where's he? Is he like running back to his vehicle? Is he attempting to help in any way? What do we think?
Um, I feel like in this case, since they are going to lose the battle, there's honestly nothing wrong with the leader and his dune buggy being present for this attack as well. Um, and he Max could have eyes only for that dune buggy because that's his mark
Yeah,
right there. We gotta get out of here. Or not
yeah.
we. Obviously, Max is still thinking just mostly of himself. He doesn't care that much about these belligerents who've just, like, ruined everything.
Yes, right, right, right. So, how do we make him gun for the leader without being totally suicidal and, like, need to escape somehow? Do we injure Max here?
Yeah,
So,
see,
how like
I don't think he needs to gun for the leader. I think he understands that the situation is totally,
yeah.
but I'm going to say that he sort of takes reassurance in the fact that he sees his mark. Like, obviously, he's been tracking these guys for days in this direction, but he doesn't know how far they've moved on from this point. And so this is basically confirmation that these people have found a new base of operations, are operating out of this area now.
Yes. Okay, good.
So basically, this is just him putting eyes on his mark for the first time.
Yep, I like that.
But
Um,
yeah, I don't think he needs to actually, like, like, suicidal enough to actually try and get his mark now because this situation is not optimal.
right, right, they're gonna have to regroup here. So that's good. I think then that the dune buggy with our bone smelter leader, needs to chase after the train. And
Mhm.
then Max chases after that dune buggy. So now we have kind of a convoy situation going on with the train being swarmed by these motorcycles. Behind that, a dune buggy, and then behind that, Max pursuing in a car. Um, yeah. And then I think there's an explosion from when the motorcyclists they're like throwing these Molotovs or whatever kind of fire plumage explosions happening from there. And I think Jack is thrown he's like holding Slackjaw in like his body,
Mhm.
and Hollowjack is thrown and then goes underneath the dune buggy and then grabs onto the back of Max's car as it drives by.
Uh-huh.
So now we have a situation where they're together, but they're like Jack is totally bruised, and I think
Oh, yeah,
Max has this kind
and
of like, "Get off
with
my car."
yeah, with Jack basically having an exoskeleton, it's also easier to really rough him up a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because yeah, you can just throw him, like, under the car. He can be, like, riding on the backside, and there's no need to worry about, like, sand burns because, his entire jacket gets frayed away, but under his jacket, it's the small of his back is just entirely metal.
That's good. I like that. I like that.
So you can really be rough with him. But yeah, in that case, um, I like that, and that's when, the sort of train chassis explodes in the front end. All the motorcyclists give some war whoops. Joy shots. They like shoot whatever weapons they have straight into the air. And that's when Max sort of realizes, oh, there's way too many of them. I've got to pull off. And him,
Yes.
him and Jack are thus pulled to safety. And maybe Max doesn't know Jack's hanging onto his fender right now.
Yeah, I like that. I think it'd be a fun escape too that the convoy is now kind of turning around because they've taken out the train and it's like buried itself head first into the sand, and now the
Mhm.
motorcycles are coming back, and then Max sees an immediate exit which involves a deepening canyon, and throws the wheel to the right, and then they go careening over the edge,
Yeah.
to escape as, like, a last ditch effort, and I think they crash through and then, like, bounce, like, all wheels just totally shocked into the ground
Yeah.
again, 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 and then it, like, crashes into the basin of this canyon.
And I feel like the majority of our motorcyclists have stopped because the main prey has been taken down and the looting has begun there.
Yes.
And that's sort of when we get, well, first, maybe we say like 5 motorcyclists have peeled off and are following Max and them, just so we can have maybe a little action scene later with them, because they're sort of the back of the pack of the motorcyclists, and they're not gonna get first dibs on the loot that's from the main carcass. So they're just sorta,
Yes.
like, looking for a little extra for themselves, and so they peel off, but then our primary group stays with the caravan, and that's when we get our dying, fatally wounded Slackjaw, who is, like, sort of lying there facing down, the very tall, helmeted leader.
Oh, shoot, I had Slackjaw with Hollow Jack.
Oh, I thought he got left behind.
No, there's a bit I wanna do with Hollowjack and Slackjaw that I think would be
Okay,
fun.
okay.
But,
Um,
I know you I think I know where you're going though, where we need some,
'Cause
deeper insight into their purpose behind this, right?
Yeah, because then it can be another one of the hollow men with
Okay.
a prosthetic of some kind. Um, and yeah, mortally wounded. They've been totally beaten at this point. The looting has begun, taking trophies, and obviously they are taking primarily their synthetic legs, their synthetic ears, their synthetic eyes.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes. And then we have our leader. Now I think we kinda get into the purpose of these guys because I know that this rare metal is valuable, but I think there's something more than meets the eye,
mhm.
to what they're doing. So,
And I
do we
feel like
have them reveal their purpose here, in the dunes, or are we gonna go back to some headquarters, or what do you think?
I'm gonna say we don't need to. I feel like Max is gonna reveal their purpose.
Okay.
Once Max and Jack are in safety, Max is gonna like give him the lowdown of who these guys are.
Alright, great.
But I feel like for this one, in this case, we just have the leader take off his helmet and we get a look at his ugly mug. And he says something spooky and then rips a guy's eyeball out.
Do we have Alexander Skarsgård? No, Stellan Skarsgård? Who's our guy here?
It's actually Christopher Walken. It's Christopher Walken on platform boots.
That is really good.
This
That
is
is
good.
really good. I want him to bring some of that Emperor of Dune energy. That
Oh, see,
I
I see. I want him to bring pool hall junkies energy. I thought he was totally lackluster and an embarrassment in the Dune movies.
but just some of the gravitas. No, you don't think he had
There
any
was
in that
no
movie?
gravitas in those Dune movies. I'm sorry. He was like sleepy grandpa. He didn't even kill anybody. He didn't even send his Sardaukar to kill anybody. It was embarrassing.
That's
Sleepy
true. Well,
grandpa.
he I mean, he did send them, but yeah, that those orders were off screen.
He,
Okay,
like,
alright, fine.
wears his pajamas. I don't think he wears a military uniform the entire time. Some Padashimper he was. Sleepy grandpa. I was so excited when he got cast too. I was like, if he brings the energy he brought in Pool Hall Junkies, this is gonna be awesome. And it was just the lamest crap ever.
Chunkies,
But
man,
enough of
that's so
that.
good. Okay, anyways, so yes, Christopher Walken as our leader of Bone Smelters. Very, very good, very good, very good. Yes. I need him to, yeah, be older too, because he's our cult leader. He's gonna be some sort of priest for this deal. Okay, so then, as with action movies is very neat. We need to take a breather
Mhm.
because we're in the base of this canyon. We are in the quiet of the desert, and I think Max and Hollow Jack have come to some sort of understanding. Um,
Yeah, this is basically where it's just like, Max is angry at him. Because Hollow Jack is obviously just angry in general because he just lost all his dudes.
yeah, and his
Um,
train. Don't forget his train.
and his train. And Max is angry with them because they basically brought it onto themselves and have basically ruined his hunt.
Yeah, and I think there's then the question we have Hollow Jack play as the Neo to this where he just starts asking a bunch of questions. Um I would like voiceover on this so that we get to see the purpose of these bone smelters take place in real time as we have Tom Hardy or whoever's playing Max
Uh,
kind of narrate what they're up to.
because he could basically or sorry, did you wanna do something with Slackjaw first? You said he's
Oh,
along.
oh yeah, he's along. No, no. Let's explain the purpose of the bone smelters and then we'll do something with Slackjaw.
Is
Thanks
he
for the
long for the
reminder though.
world, though? Like, he got
No, he's dead. He's gonna die here in a second.
so this has gotta happen before the, like, exposition,
Yes. No,
because
okay, we'll just say he's dead. He's dead. We don't need to say any farewells or goodbyes.
oh, no?
I got something for this. Okay. Anyways, sorry. Let's explain the purpose of the bone smelter group. So here's what I'm angling for, Burger.
Mhm.
One thing I think could be good, but I know it could use some improvement. The bone smelters take metal implants because they use them as like fortune telling. So you know
Yeah.
how a bone reader would take the bones of an animal or whatever else, and the way it cracks in the fire is indicative of the apocalypse or good harvest or whatever. I
Mhm.
think there's some element of that to these guys, but they need some sort of ultimate threat or something that they're gearing towards to use these metal implants for.
I mean yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's augury, so it's like, yeah, they're, like, removing organs and, like, reading the signs that are inside of them and whatnot. I don't know, like, ultimate threat, it's difficult because it's like, how do you play the augury? It's like, does this fortune telling actually work, or are these people actually just schizophrenic, insane people? I mean, it could be a little bit
um
of both,
It
but
could be both. Yeah. So like maybe they're looking for a specific bone.
well, yeah, like, I don't feel like it doesn't need to be any sort of MacGuffin-y nonsense. I feel like the existential threat here is that these guys have just freshly moved into the area, and they have now just literally taken out the apex predator of this area, and now that the Hollow Men are all dead, Watchtower is in imminent danger.
Yeah. Yep, that's good. That's
Because
good.
yeah, I don't feel like we need them to be after any sort of specific MacGuffin. We're just, they're
Oh,
gonna be
yeah, yeah.
after all the prosthetics of all the people who live in Watchtower.
Yeah, that's good. I just want this bone augury piece to like come back in some way
Mhm,
that will give them a leg up on this like watchtower and perhaps Max and Hollow Jack as well.
yeah. Well, because they could just be looking. Because like, I mean, that's something people don't really realize about, like, ancient civilizations or ancient religions. It's like how superstitious a lot of warriors were. Um, like the Spartans, people talk about the Spartans all the time, but they forget how crazy they were about signs and like
Yes.
omens.
Yep.
And it's like the Spartans literally didn't go and help at Marathon because they had to finish their festival. It's like that's like it's like not superstition. That's life right there. And
Yeah.
I feel like maybe our crazy synthetic augury people are looking for a proper sign. Um, they've obviously just defeated the Hollow Men. If they were to attack if they were to attack Watchtower right now, it would be a massacre, but they aren't sure because obviously there's a fog of war. There's no perfect knowledge. They don't realize how vulnerable Watchtower is right now, and they're waiting for the proper sign. They need to make the sacrifices before the battle. They
Mm.
need the proper signage, and then they can go and attack. So that's basically what they're looking for as they harvest all these synthetics, as they, do whatever weird, stuff they do to them,
Yeah.
rituals and whatnot.
No, I
It
like this. The other part too is that they could have, I think the leg up could be, when they do this augury, divination, whatever, that they could either reveal the location of Max and Hollow Jack by
Mhm.
reading the signs, by reading the bones, and they could figure something out, whether it be real or not, or just like all in their head, or we could have them find some sort of weakness to the watchtower that will
Yeah.
make it so the bone smelters could have a total annihilation of the watchtower.
And we could, uh, we like I said earlier, we have our guys, we're sort of exposition dumping together at the bottom of this. We're storming before norming. Um, but in any case, like I said earlier, we have our 5 motorcyclists who have pursued them, sort of breaking away from the rest of the group, and at this point, we could have them do a bit of this augury to show it off.
Yes.
Um, like
Okay, cool. Let's have Christopher Walken then. He's like looking at the watchtower from the distance, right?
Mhm,
And then he and his little group have put together kind of like a scale model or some sort of map of the watchtower. And
yeah.
then they take the bones that they've just recently harvested and they begin mixing them and mashing them, and then they throw them to the map, and the shards of metal begin to arrange themselves such that they see a weakness in the watchtower's defenses. I don't know exactly what that looks like, or if there's some specific detail that them knowing would give them a leg up.
I like it doesn't even have to be a real leg up. Like I said, it can all literally be mental. They could literally just be trying to figure out which side to attack it from. And like there literally could be literally no difference, but it's a placebo in their heads,
Oh,
essentially. Like I said, it doesn't need to be totally logical. It's just like you're just basically looking for any sort of insight, and you can't trust your own insight. You just have to
okay.
trust.
Yeah, that's good. So what sign would they see then that says attack the watchtower? It's vulnerable.
Um, oh gosh, I don't. Oh, what is? Because it's like when you cut open, it's like all the Etruscan augury is like all based on livers. So you take out a chicken liver or a cow liver, and there's like certain like signs about like because you cut open the stomach, and like based on what is in the stomach, that is also indicative of certain
Yes, right.
signage and stuff. But like, how do you do that with robot limbs and prosthetics? It could be and like I said earlier, we could sort of preface this before we do any sort of augury about the watchtower and the main leader. I was saying we could take our group of 5 guys who are still pursuing Max and Jack and have them maybe they take like a prosthetic arm out of their backpack. Maybe they're sort of at an impasse. They've crawled down to the canyon because they know that their quarry is down here and they've crawled down there themselves, but they don't know which way to go. And so maybe at this point we see them take a prosthetic arm out, cut like a tendon in the elbow or, a piston or
Sure, sure, sure.
and then the arm just starts flailing around and maybe both all 5 of them are just in a circle. They stand there and they just like they
Yes.
count to 12 and then all just jump on the arm. And then whichever way the arm is sort of like pointing is the direction they choose to go.
Good.
And we
I
sort of
like
leave
that.
this totally up in the air about whether this actually is, like, practical and is working. Like, is it real? Because like, maybe it does actually just point them right in the direction of where they're hiding. Um,
But it
and
could be total happenstance,
but
right?
yeah, it could be totally happenstance. Like I said, it's all, like it's not about it's not about getting I mean, it is about getting results, but it's about taking the decision out of your hand. Sort of like how
Right.
King David for the longest time while he was a bandit king, he had lots. He was just rolling lots for like
Rolling dice all the time.
yeah, like
Right.
all of his decisions because he's just like, I don't have time to actually commune and talk directly with God. I'm just gonna roll these dice to
Yes.
make because yeah, it's like that's the fastest way.
Yeah. So I like that. So let's have both then. So we
Mhm.
have a sign to attack the watchtower. In this case, Christopher Walken from the bones finds a perfectly shaped knife. Okay,
Mhm.
somehow through all of this, and like he looks at it, he takes it, and he puts it into his eye line and points it at the watchtower. And then we have the bone smelters kind of whooping and hollering because now they know they're off to go fight the watchtower. And then we have that scene. I really like that scene that you just described, where we have them jump on the arm, and it points to where Max and Hollow Jack are hiding. And then I think we get a shot of Max looking over his shoulder through the firelight, and he says they're here. And then we get them equip themselves really quick. So we have two conflicts at the same time. We have the bone smelters moving their way to the watchtower, and then we have the bone smelters that are about to jump Hollow Jack and Max.
I feel like, do you really wanna make it so quick? I was gonna maybe have, uh well, 'cause, like, they you want them to move directly from this ambush to the watchtower.
Yeah, they saw a sign. They got to go now.
That's so true. That is so true. So true. But in any case, yeah, we get our sort of smaller action scene, um, uh, and they attack, Max and Jack, and this is where we can sorta get a bit of a comeuppance, because obviously these are only 5 guys who have sort of just trailed them down into this canyon. And I don't know. I'm not sure about any specific details, but I feel like Max and Jack at this point, now that they've rallied and sort of like obviously their priorities are pretty straight because Jack, they obviously maybe they haven't forgiven each other, but it's clear that Max wants to kill the leader of this band, and that Jack wants to get revenge for his men and keep the watchtower safe. So at
This
this
is good.
point, both of these guys just make pretty short work of these 5 hooligans.
Yes, and here is now where I'll interject the Slackjaw bit that I think would be fun. I think we have Hollow Jack becoming a man of two worlds, one of the might and power, and then one of the superstition. So I think when he looks over at Slackjaw, he hears the voice of Slackjaw in his head, and it's like it's not clear if he's going crazy or if there's something else at work here. But Slackjaw's jaw begins to move and like talk to him and tell him to get revenge.
Oh, he's like losing his mind.
He's loses his mind a little bit. It's the skull of Yorick from Hamlet. Like he's going a little nuts here, and I think he unclasps the jaw of Slackjaw and
Mhm.
keeps it as now his conscience.
Okay.
It tells him what to do.
Okay.
But I like this action scene. Is there any potential energy that we can leverage in a canyon that'll make this like, ooh, that's definitely an action scene in a canyon? The only thing I can think of really is like falling rocks. If they could find some way to leverage an avalanche to take these guys out and like really use their environment.
Yeah, it's true, and, like, if they've managed to bring their bikes down, also, it can just be, like, a sorta kinda silly X Games, like, they're, like,
Oh
going
yes.
up and up the walls of the canyon and back down and very, like, very silly, sort of gratuitous, but these people are primitives, and I don't say that in a derogatory sort of term, but it's just they're high on life. They're in direct communion with the Lord through adrenaline.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so then we get. Is the car still work? Does the car still function, or is it like faulty, or is it dead?
Um, I what I thought when we initially described the crash down there is that it doesn't work anymore, and which is
Okay.
why I sort of set up these 5 following them because they're gonna need bikes
Ah,
to
sweet.
to
Yes.
make a because that's why Max is so angry because his car is basically busted at this point.
Yes, that's very good. That's very good. Okay, so then we need some action in which Max uses a shotgun. Shotgun. Yeah,
I mean, he uses a shotgun a lot. I mean, I don't think he really has a brand
that's
about what
true.
he uses. He uses
Yeah.
whatever he needs to survive.
Hollow Jack. What is his weapon of choice? I'm just trying to picture this in my mind.
Well, Mad Max weapons are so funny.
Aren't they
Um,
great?
it could just be like like a harpoon gun or something.
Ooh, I like. But then he's only got one shot. But maybe that's a gimmick bit
Uh,
we can
I mean,
do.
it could be a harpoon gun, and then he has a
Oh, wait, I got it, can we
uh,
do harpoon gun, but then he can use the harpoon bit as, like, a melee weapon.
that's true. That's fair.
So it's like an anchor he's whipping around to, like, hit people.
Mhm.
So he can like shoot it out. It like buries itself into one of the riders, and then it yanks his body off as one of the motorcycles goes away, right? And maybe Max could grab that in a minute.
Yeah.
And then when he yanks it out, he uses it and swings it over his shoulder and hits another guy with the hook.
I like that. And then Max, yeah, grabs a motorcycle.
Yes, very good. And then I think Hollow Jack gets his own bike, and then we have some sort of crash happen between two of the guys, between two of the bone smelter, and it goes up in a ball of flame as our two protagonists emerge from the canyon in chase in pursuit of the bone smelters at the watchtower.
Mhm.
Cool. Watchtower, seeing the oncoming bone smelters, what is their defense, if any?
I'm gonna say that the bone smelters have put the train monster truck back together,
Mm!
and that the people at the watchtower are very relieved when they see the big plume of smoke on the horizon, because the
Yes.
Hollow Men have been gone for a really long time. They're kind of scared because the Hollow Men are their protectors, and they see the plume of smoke on the horizon. It's like, oh, thank God they're coming back. But then it's not them.
Nice. Yes. Christopher Walken standing with his arms outstretched, and like and holding the knife as a sign from the divine is, I think, a pretty fun shot for me.
Mhm.
As the I think the sun is rising now, right? Because we've kind of been doing this through the night. I think the sun is rising as they're making their descent onto the poor prey of the watchtower. But yeah, I like this because then we have like our refugee types all gathered at the gate and saying like "Hollow Jack, Hollow Men," whatever else. And it's only when they draw closer that and the gates are wide open, right? Because it's supposed to be accepting.
Yeah.
This is good. I like this. I like this a lot. And then yeah, Christopher Walken as Bone Smelter leader.
And yeah, because
Um,
like, maybe the watchtower has some hefty defenses, but yeah, the gates are sort of open, and the motorcycles just get in really fast. It's basically a blitz, and
yeah.
this is basically, it's like the signs were right. Maybe we couldn't have assailed it at any other time, but this time we got them good. Uh,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, and I
but
think
yeah, it's
Bone
basically
Smelters
just
go
a
to work right
blitz
away.
blitz of the front gate. The motorcycles keep it open. They kill the people maintaining the big gate. They keep it open. There's a battle that ensues there. Um, and then, yeah, basically just crashing the train into the front gate to make a permanent hole.
Yes, I like that big explosion.
Big spectacle, huge
And I
spectacle.
think they're gonna start moving up the watchtower and begin to attack everyone that's inside. And I think they are taking whatever implants they can. I think we can
Mhm.
like we get someone has a prosthetic arm that gets snatched. Someone has like a head that's also taken. All of the loot is theirs now, and I,
Yeah.
I think it's merciless. So then, do we have Max and Jack come back now through at this time?
Yep. I mean, they ride up. They hear they march to the sounds of the drum. They hear the battle in the distance. They sort of see these giant dust clouds because obviously it's Australia. So all these battles, they see the ravens and the dust before anything else.
That's
Um,
good. Something to think about is how are we gonna have what's the trick for Max and Jack to get these guys, because there's only two of them, or do
mhm.
we just have them go full Gonzo? If there's some way that we can make some sort of big explosion happen that takes out all the bone smelters, we'll do that.
I feel like the key is the leader because I feel like these guys are incredibly superstitious. And they have a war chief essentially, and as soon as their war chief goes down, it's basically bad medicine. And
Yes. Okay.
it's
Good.
I mean, this sort of thing happens. I mean, it doesn't happen in the current day, but sort of thinking about like Comanche bands. And like, yeah, there's a lot of good medicine with your war chief, and usually, if your war chief goes down, there's a big moral panic, or not moral, but morale, sort
Morale
of
panic. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get shaken. I feel like these guys, basically, their connection is the super tall, lanky, stick bug looking Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Good man.
But in any case, I feel like that's the key. I feel like we don't need to kill every single bone smelter. Because Max is after their leader, and basically that's sort of the axis which this whole scene is going to be like revolving around. Is that once he's dead, it's more than likely that they are going to rout because
All right. Then I would propose a split. So I would like because they can't just ignore the threat of the bone smelters in order to go
Mhm.
after the leader because I think that's a little too lame for the bone smelter. So I'm going
Yeah.
to do a callback to Warpath's End, and I'm going to say that there is a lieutenant of the bone smelters with a mohawk. 9 inch screw helmet and wielding a baseball bat with intersecting saws in
Mhm.
it that is going to basically stand at the gate and challenge Jack and Max as soon as they come through.
Okay.
And then I like this too because then so Max is gonna face off against this we'll call him Motorhead. Uh
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think Hollow Jack can then see that Christopher Walken is ascending the watchtower and is going to basically plant his flag and take this whole place over. I think
Yeah, it's like
Hollow Jack can use his exoskeleton to unleash some sort of huge leap to get as high up in the watchtower as he can in like one go, leaving Max behind.
well, okay, I see what you're saying. He's using his prosthetics to get ahead.
Yeah, because he's got to use it for something. Otherwise, well, I suppose he did sustain some serious damage that not a normal human could survive. So there is that. But I want this to come back. So let's,
Mhm.
yeah. What next then?
Um, yeah, so maybe our leader of the bone smelters is heading toward the top of the tower where like the women and children and the quartermaster are holed up. Our clipboard king.
Because he's like holding whatever I don't know is it a quill or something like that, and he's just kind of
Yeah.
shaking. I like it.
But in any case, yeah, so maybe this tower isn't like an actual huge tower, but it is sort of um a narrow walkway going upwards.
Yeah,
And
there's no way this
and
is like
it's
stone. This is like
well, I'm thinking more like cement foundry metal beams because we
yes,
don't
and
want it to
like
be wood, because if it was
right.
wood, you would just chop the bottom out and, like, crash the whole thing and kill everyone in the top.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's gotta be like an old relic from the old world where it's sturdy enough to where the primitives can't just push it over.
I like too. I don't know if you ever see, like this kind of ruined aesthetic where you have rebar that's like everywhere, poking out of
Mm.
all of the cracks and crevices
Of the cement.
of the cement. Yeah, I don't know why that just so strikes me as so dangerous. Maybe
Yeah.
it's because I played. Oh gosh, what is that? That zombie game.
I don't know. You're afraid of tetanus, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's the fear of tetanus. But yes, yeah, rebar, man, frightening stuff.
But yeah, so our friend jumps up there with his metal legs. And, yeah, he jumps up, lands in front of the guy, and now it's basically a face-off between our 2 tallest boys on this sort of narrow walkway going up.
Yeah, can
For in that thin path, 1,000 may well be stopped by 3. So who will
right.
go and hold the bridge with me? Baba boo.
Bingo. So I would like because Christopher Walken, in my mind, is a little more frail than whoever we have cast as Hollow Jack. So I
Mm.
think as soon as Jack ascends in this giant leap, I think he gets a blow in, and like as soon as he attaches himself to the watchtower, that same knife that Christopher Walken found as a sign to attack comes through the like the slates of the watchtower and pierces the shoulder of our Hollow Jack, who is now seriously wounded.
What do you mean by who throws it? Or
Doesn't throw. I think he stabs it through. Like this
uh,
watchtower is so like shoddily put together. There's not even a serious wall. So as soon as
mhm.
as Hollow Jack attaches himself, he like stabs him.
Oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
Because we need him to have some disadvantage here to go up against these bone smelters. Because he's high on revenge. He is going to be pretty powerful in this state.
Mhm. Oh gosh. So in any case, if we're returning down to Max,
Oh yeah, let's do that.
um, I guess he could do some stuff where maybe at this point they've sort of taken the inner part. They're climbing the tower. Everyone's sort of parked their vehicles. So that's Max when he sort of like comes in. Because they've obviously killed anyone who's picketing around, and obviously they're primitives. Their perimeter is not that secure in the first place. Uh,
True.
but they maybe yeah our Jack jumps up there and Max goes to the vehicles because he knows this is like sort of the lifeblood of these people, and if we are gonna win, they're gonna make a break for it, uh, and that's when he meets old you know 9-inch nailhead, sort of like um, sort of like the boxer from Indiana Jones who's just at the
Yes.
plane. It's just
Yes.
sort of a no holds barred battle as Max is just trying to he's basically just running up and down, slashing the tires of a bunch of bikes when this guy basically jumps him and he drops his shotgun and it sort of reverts to a big old fist fight.
I like that. We just get some like human v human meat slapping where just knuckles go to face and back again, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. We have a they fight moment. Is there any detail to here that we should keep as like, that's what made that scene? My poor ears.
Sorry. Uh, I really couldn't say.
Okay. No, that's good. Let's do can we use a motorcycle? Can we use like a bike chain? I know motorcycles don't have bike chains. What I'm saying is could there be like some sort of chain action involved where it goes from hand to hand and now like they're choking out one another using a chain?
Mhm.
I think we could have that happen at the highest moment of tension is
Yeah.
when like the two of them are like down on the ground both wrestling each other with this chain. Just as we have the action between Hollow Jack and the leader of the Bone Smelters come to a head as well.
Yeah. And I feel like this is and obviously we are very, very sparse on actual character arcs right now. And any sort of like character driven anything.
Anything.
But that's for a second draft. We're first drafting right now.
Right.
Um, uh, but we could say that in this moment, in both of their individual fights, Max against this 9 Inch Nail head and Jack against Christopher Walken, they both come to this like dire strait where they're like getting hammered and it's really bad. They're being choked out or something to that degree. But in both cases, how they each escape is different. In the case of Max, he sort of like he figures out a way to escape himself and save himself and win. But for Jack, since he's a community man, he's getting choked out and maybe someone pokes their head from out of the room that he is protecting filled with women and children and the quartermaster and they like throw something and it gives him the opening he needs to get out
Ah,
and throw our guy over the side. And like I
I
said,
like it.
we're pretty lackluster in any sort of characterization for this 33-minute for TV episode of Mad Max. Um, but in any case, this sort of just shows that Max is still the lone wolf. He doesn't got anybody. He doesn't have a community. He's the man with no name, except his
Right.
name is Max, and he's mad. Um,
He's a mad guy.
uh, but yeah, Jack is more he has a community and that community comes to bat for him in his moment of need.
That's good. I like it. I
And
think
then
we
I
wrap
feel like
things up pretty
I feel
quickly
like
here.
Jack winning is basically just him throwing Christopher Walken off the top of this tower.
Yes, I like that because then the bone smelters can look and
Yeah.
basically
They can basically see it happen. Everyone can see it happen.
yeah, there we go. There we go. I like a good Saruman death like that. Um, sorry, cinematic Saruman death. We're
Oh,
not saying that this is the books. I'm sorry. I should have prefaced that.
wow.
I'm so sorry. I'm such a fake fan. Okay. With that, Saruman is deposed. The bone smelters then flee because they see this as a sign, despite the signs that told them this was a good idea, and now they have to flee, using, of course, motorcycles.
Well, yeah,
And
those were Christopher Walken's signs. That was his medicine, and his medicine is obviously broken.
right. So they must find a new bone smelter head to use. I think then we get a classic, a rejoining of the cast. Hollow Jack extending a hand to Mad Max, who has like just the nastiest injuries possible.
Yeah,
You know,
he's got really roughed up, but he could take it.
right? Everything
Um,
our makeup department can afford, all there.
um, yeah, no, they maybe he goes to shake his hand. While maybe Max is literally just walking up to the body and just taking the head off of Christopher Walken, because that's his mark right there. And then
That's
yeah,
good.
Jack
Yep.
just comes up, gives him a hand, and they shake.
And then off into the sunset. I think for Madium Maximum. What's
Mr.
his full
Max.
What's his full name?
Well, his first name is Mad. Is
Or
Mr. Max.
Madness Maximum.
Yeah, Madness Maximum. Mr. Maximum.
Mr. Maximum. I think that marks the end here. Burger, any parting wisdom for our listeners as we close?
Don't rip people's spines out. They don't like it.
Not a good idea. Mad Max will come after you. All right, and with that, have a great week. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bang.